Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're still going over the oscilloscope, so this is part 2. And we left off with the rear panel, and we're back on page 31 of the manual. And it lists front panel function overview. And it's the vertical. And it's listing channel 1, channel 2, analog channel setting keys. The two channels are marked by different colors, which are also used to mark both the corresponding waveforms on the screen and the channel input connectors. Press any key to open the corresponding channel menu and press again to turn off the channel. So from there it's listing this section right here, and I'm just going to zoom in so we can see it. Okay. So those are going to switch between your channel 1 and your channel 2. So channel 1 and channel 2. Right now I have the probe in channel 1. So it's going to show it on the screen. So when I hit channel 2, it's going to bring up the blue line for channel 2. Obviously I don't have anything in that channel, so I don't need that. So I'm going to turn it off. It says the math button, press math to open the math operation menu, under which A plus B and A minus B, A times B, A divided by B, fast Fourier transform, A and B, A absolute B, A to the B power, not A, integer, difference, square root, log, linear, exponential, ABS and filter operations are provided. You can press math to open the decoding menu and set the decoding options. Okay, so I'm going to press math, and there it brings up our math, and then it brings up all our different options for that. I don't know how to get back. Okay, just press math again and it takes you back. Okay. Reference. Press this key to enable the reference waveform function to compare the waveform actually measured with the reference waveform. Okay, and it says for the reference button, it allows you to compare to a reference which I'm not really sure how that works yet, but that's what that one does. It brings up this menu. So when you press reference, that's the scroll menu that pops up. It says, press this key to enable the reference waveform function to compare the waveform actually measured with the reference waveform. Okay, next up, vertical position. Modify the vertical position of the current channel waveform. Turn clockwise to increase the position and turn counterclockwise to decrease. During the modification, the waveform would move up and down, and the position message at the lower left corner of the screen would change accordingly. Press down this knob to quickly reset the vertical position to 0. Okay, and that is okay, that's this knob. This is the vertical position. Okay, and this is the vertical scale. It says it right here to the right of it, so if you look on here it says position. And then this is the vertical indicator right here. So you can move it and it moves this bar to 0. Okay. Next up, vertical scale. Modify the vertical scale of the current channel. Turn clockwise to decrease the scale and turn counterclockwise to increase. During the modification, the display amplitude of the waveform would enlarge or reduce. The scale information at the lower side of the screen would change accordingly. Press down this knob. Quickly switch the vertical scale adjustment mode between coarse and fine. Okay, I forgot to press this knob. So when I press the vertical, it should take this back to 0. So let me see. I'm moving it, now I'm going to press it. And it took it back to 0 immediately. So that's what happens when you press the vertical position. So when you scale this, let me just zoom out. When you scale with the vertical scale, I'm not seeing anything. It's saying function limited. So I don't know what that means. Well, it says if you press down this knob quickly, switch the vertical scale adjustment mode between coarse and fine. I don't know where you see. The scale isn't on, maybe. Or it says it's limited, so maybe I don't have that full capability on mine. Okay, next up. Next up is the horizontal. The horizontal position is located right here. These two. It's got its own little grouping. So this is the horizontal section. It says horizontal position. Modify the horizontal position. The trigger point would move left or right relative to the center of the screen when you rotate the knob. During the modification, waveforms of all the channels would move left or right, and the horizontal position message at the upper right corner of the screen would change accordingly. Press down this knob to quickly reset the horizontal position or the delayed sweep position. So I'm going to zoom out so we can see the screen, or at least I see it. Okay, so this is me turning left, and you can see it's moving this one marker, and it's also moving this marker up here, and you can see the waveform scaled out so that when you move it, it's showing you that. Okay. And that doesn't really. That's supposed to reset the sweep position, but I don't know. I guess let me see. Okay, I moved it left. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that resets it. Okay. Menu. Press this key to open the horizontal control menu where you can turn on or off the delayed sweep function and switch between different time-based modes. Okay, so here's the menu. And there's the delayed. You can turn it on. And this is off. On. Off. Here's the time base. I'm going to leave it where it's at. That goes to XY. That goes to roll. We're going back to where it was. Hit menu. And menu. Okay. Next up is horizontal scale. Modify the horizontal time base. Turn clockwise to reduce the time base, and turn counterclockwise to increase the time base. During the modification, waveforms of all the channels will be displayed in expanded or compressed mode, and the time base message at the upper side of the screen would change accordingly. Press down this knob to quickly switch to the delayed sweep state. Okay, so that's this one. And so we can speed it up, and it's compressed, or we can slow it down. And that's as slow as that gets. And it says to press it, and it takes you to that delayed sweep mode. That's neat. Okay. Next up is the trigger function. Mode. Press this key to switch the trigger mode to auto, normal, or single, and the corresponding state backlight of the current trigger mode would be illuminated. So we're going to this section right here. This is the section we're in now. Okay. And mode is the button right here. Press this key to switch the trigger mode to auto, normal, or single, and the corresponding backlight of the current trigger mode would be illuminated. So it's got it right here, so it's got auto lit up, and then in the middle it's got normal, and then it's got single right here. So you can press, it's in auto right now, I'm going to switch it to normal. Now I'm going to switch it to single. And back to auto. Okay. I don't know when my run stop turned to red. Okay. I did not like that. Okay. Trigger level. Modify the trigger level. Turn clockwise to increase the level and turn counterclockwise to reduce the level. During the modification, the trigger level line would move up and down, and the value in the trigger level message box at the lower left corner of the screen would change accordingly. Press down the knob to quickly reset the trigger level to the 0 point. Okay. Okay, let's see what it does. This adjusts the trigger up. Okay. So that kind of makes it kind of weird. And then you can set it lower. Okay, now I'm going to push the trigger button so it can see it goes back to the center. Okay. And menu, press this key to open the trigger operation menu. This oscilloscope provides various trigger types. For more details, please refer to trigger the oscilloscope. So you get a menu, and it brings up edge, I guess these are the different types, and use this intensity to scroll those. So we're going to leave it on edge for now, because I don't really know the usage of each yet. Force. Press this key to generate a trigger signal forcibly. And that is this button. And let's see what it does. Well, I don't notice a difference on ours, so nothing noticeably. Next up is clear. Press this key to clear all the waveforms on the screen. If the oscilloscope is in the run state, new waveforms will be displayed. Okay, the clear button is here. So you can clear it out. Auto. Press this key to enable waveform auto setting function. The oscilloscope will automatically adjust the vertical scale, horizontal time base, and trigger mode according to the input signal to realize optimum waveform display. Waveform auto setting function requires that the frequency of sine is no lower than 41 Hz. The duty cycle should be greater than 1%, and the amplitude must be at least 20 millivolts peak to peak for square. Otherwise, the waveform auto setting function may be invalid, and the quick parameter measure function displayed in the menu will also be unavailable. Run stop. Press this key to run or stop waveform sampling. In the run state, the key is illuminated in yellow. In the stop state, the key is illuminated in red. And that's the one that's already lit up. So we put it in the stop state, and now we're putting it in the run state. So you can see it stopped the screen when I put it in stop state. It actually says it right here, stop. Okay. Single. Press this key to set the trigger mode to single. In single trigger mode, press force to generate a trigger signal immediately. So single is right here. And it puts it in stop state for some reason. So let's hit single and then force it's in. But no, clear. I'm going back to auto. Okay. Multifunction knob. Adjust waveform brightness. In non-menu operation mode, turn this knob to adjust the brightness of waveform display. The adjustable range is from 0 to 100%. Turn clockwise to increase the brightness and counterclockwise to reduce. Press down this knob to reset the brightness of 60 to 60%. You can also press display, then wave intensity, and use the knob to adjust the waveform brightness. Okay, and that's this. So it changes. You gotta click it and then churn it to change the intensity. And you can see the knobs right here. So left is low intensity, right is high intensity. You can press it and it'll reset it to 60% automatically. Or you can press it and then just turn it up. But if you keep pressing it, it'll go back to 60%. You can also press display, which is this button, and then go to the intensity, which is this button, and then change it there. Okay. In the menu operation, the backlight of the knob goes on. Press any menu soft key and rotate the knob to select the submenus under this menu, and then press down the knob to select the current submenu. It can also be used to modify parameters. Please refer to the introduction and parameter setting method and input file name. Okay, so it just tells you if you're using these, you can use this to select between them. So that's what that was about. Okay, function menus. Measure. Press this key to open the measurement setting menu. You can set measurement source, turn on or off the frequency counter, all measures, statistic, function, and etc. Press menu at the left of the screen to open the measurement menus of 37 waveform parameters. Then press down the corresponding menu soft key to quickly realize one key measurement, and the measurement result will be displayed at the bottom of the screen. Okay. So that's this button. Measure. And it says all measure. Okay. It says we had measure And then you hit menu, and it'll show you all the waveforms. And I guess we could pick one and see what happens. Let's pick peak to peak. VPP, volts, peak to peak. And then it brings up the measure here. Okay. Acquire. Press this key to enter the sample setting menu to set the acquisition mode. Sine X over X and memory depth of the oscilloscope. And acquire is here. And that can set the depth here. And leave that default. Storage. Press this key to enter the file store and recall interface. The storable file types include picture, traces, waves, setup, CSV, and parameters. Internal and external storage as well as disk management are also supported. Okay, and storage is there, right here. So you press that and it brings up the scroll bar. Disk management. And that's how you would save to your USB, which is over here. Okay. Cursor. Press this key to enter the cursor measurement menu. The oscilloscope provides 4 cursor modes: manual, track, auto, and XY. Note that XY cursor mode is only available when the horizontal time base is set to XY. Display. Oh, wait. Before display, here's the cursor. There's the mode. There's manual. Oops. Cursor, manual. Manual. Oh wow, I put up a grid. Okay. Oops. Let's go back to manual track. Auto. Oh wow. And off was what it was default, so I'm going to put it back to off. So that was the cursor. Display. Press this key to enter the display setting menu to set the display type. Persistence time, wave intensity, grid type, and brightness. I think we kind of touched on that one a little bit with the intensity. You can do vector. Oh, you can do dots. Wow, it's in dots now. Vector or dots. We'll keep it in vector. Persistence time. Let's do milliseconds. Let's do 500 milliseconds. See what it does. Nope, nothing. Let's put it back in min. Grid. Okay, you can do 4 quadrants on grid, or you can do no grid. I like the standard. That's 4 quadrants. It still didn't. Here we go. It took a minute. Okay, so that's the display button. Utility, press this key to enter the system function setting menu to set the system related functions or parameters, such as input, output, sound, and language. Besides some advanced functions such as the pass-fail test, waveform record, etc. are also supported. So that's the last key that we have over here, and it's utility. It brings up the input output setting right here. Which brings up remote input output and input output setting, USB computer. I don't know what GPIB is. Oh, that's I think that's remote. And then the sound. Oh, we had our sound off. I'm gonna leave it off. I'm not a fan of sound. Okay, pass fail. I'm not really sure what all the functions of these are, so I'm just gonna leave it default. But they're there. Record. Okay, this is how you would record. That's neat. And then system. System info. Tells you the model and all that. Vertical reference is ground, center, power setting, last, default. Okay, and then I just press utility again. So that was the utility. Print, you can press this key to print the screen or save the screen to a USB storage device. If a PictBridge printer is connected currently and the printer is in idle state, pressing this key will execute the print operation. If no printer is connected but a USB storage device is inserted, pressing this key can save the screen to the USB storage device in the specified format. For more details, please refer to the introduction in storage type. If both a printer and a USB storage device are connected at the same time, the printer enjoys higher priority when pressing this key. It only supports the flash memory USB storage device of FAT32 format. Okay, and the print is over here in green. This is the print. So it says no USB disk on my screen. You can see it when I press it. No USB disk. And I don't have a printer connected, so it's not going to save or print. So user interface. We'll go through the LCD user interface next. Okay. First up is auto measurement items. And the auto measurement items are this scroll bar, okay? These are auto measurement items. It provides 20 horizontal and 17 vertical measurement parameters. Press the soft key at the left of the screen to activate the corresponding measurement item. Press menu continuously to switch between the horizontal and vertical parameters. So you can hold this. Is what it said. Okay, no, press. And it'll say vertical and then horizontal. So these are horizontal 1 key measurements and these are vertical 1 key measurements. So if you wanted to measure the width, it would put width up right here. If you wanted to measure the period, it would put the period up there. And I already have it pressed for volts peak to peak, which is VPP. And I'm going to unpress it. I guess you can't unpress it. I don't know how that works because it's still showing up here. I thought if I unpressed it, it would clear it, but it doesn't. Okay. Status. Available states include run, stop, triggered, wait, and auto. And your status is going to be shown right here. And that stands for triggered. So that's my status. Number 3, horizontal time base. Represent the time per grid on horizontal axis on the screen. The horizontal scale to modify this parameter. The range available is from 2 nanoseconds to 50 seconds. So that is listed here. And mine said right here with the capital H says H5 milliseconds. So that's my horizontal time base. Okay. And if you move to the horizontal scale, which is the button we learned over here, then it will change that. Like now I'm 2 milliseconds. 1 millisecond. So that's the time base. Okay. Next up is the sample rate or the memory depth. Display the current sample rate and memory depth of the oscilloscope. The sample rate and memory depth will change in accordance with the horizontal time base. Okay, and that's the sample rate. So the sample rate is 200K samples per second. So 200,000 samples per second. And what did it say above? memory depth of the oscilloscope. And it says 12K points, or PTS. Okay. Next up is the waveform memory. Provide the schematic diagram of the memory position of the waveform currently on the screen. Okay, so it's showing this is the waveform memory, this is the wave. So it's going to show you that waveform up here. Number 6 is the trigger position. Display the trigger position of the waveform in the waveform memory and on the screen. And that's right here, the T's. So it shows you on your grid, and then it shows you on the waveform memory. Okay. Horizontal position. Use horizontal position to modify this parameter. Press down the knob to automatically set the parameter to 0. And that is this right here. So that's your horizontal position. You're at 0. And here's the you can see it changing when I change the button. Change it on the button. Okay, and just press it if you want to go back to 0. Okay, and then trigger type. Display the current selected trigger type and trigger condition setting. Different labels are displayed when different trigger types are selected. For example, it gives you a picture of a diode squiggly, represents triggering on the rising edge in the edge trigger. So number 8. So it's saying the different symbol. So this symbol represents the type of trigger you selected, and this one represents the edge. So that's what that teeny tiny symbol is right there. Okay, next up is the trigger source. It displays the trigger source currently selected, channel 1, channel 2, AC line, or external. Different labels are displayed when different trigger sources are selected, and the color of the trigger parameter area will change accordingly. For example, 1 denotes that channel 1 is selected as the trigger source. So you can see that mine is a block 1 right here, or maybe you can't see the 1, but it says 1 in this little square block, and that represents channel 1, so that's where that indicator is. Okay. Trigger level. When an analog channel is selected as the trigger source, you need to set a proper trigger level. The trigger level label T is displayed at the right of the screen, and the trigger level value is displayed at the upper right corner of the screen. When using the trigger level to modify the trigger level value will change the up and down of the T, or trigger. So that indicator is here. So I'm at 1 millivolt. So I went back to 0. channel 1 vertical scale. Display the voltage value per grid of channel 1 waveform vertically. Press channel 1 to select channel 1 and use vertical scale to modify this parameter. The following labels will be displayed according to the current channel setting. Channel coupling and bandwidth limit. Okay. And that is gonna be here at the bottom. So it says channel 1 equals 50 millivolts. And that is the voltage value per grid. And you can use the vertical scale to modify this, which is right here, but we didn't. Okay, yeah, it is working now. So if you scale it, then it'll change the value. So over here, when I'm scaling it, it says 50 millivolts. Now it says 100 millivolts. Now 500 millivolts. So that's the scale. Okay. Analog channel label waveform. Different channels are marked with different colors, and the colors of the channel label and waveform are the same. And that is so if I press channel 2, you can see it just states that they're labeled in different colors. So I press channel 2 and the blue waveform channel lit up. So that's what it's referring to. Next up, vertical scale. Channel 2 vertical scale. Display the voltage value per grid of channel 2 waveform vertically. Press channel 2 to select channel 2 and use vertical scale to modify this parameter. The following labels will be displayed according to the current channel setting. Channel coupling and bandwidth limit. So right now it's grayed out because I don't have anything on there, but if you select channel 2, then it's gonna transition to channel 2, and then you can use the vertical scale to change your, but I'm not using that because I don't have it. Okay, next up is message box. Display the prompt messages. Okay, and if it has a message for you, then it displays it right here. Like when I press print, it messaged me. Okay. Notification area. Display the sound icon and USB storage device icon. The sound is enabled will display. When sound is disabled, the sound icon will be displayed with an X. USB storage device icon. When a USB storage device is detected, the USB icon will be displayed. Okay, and that's referring to right here. This is the notification area. It's displaying that I have my sound turned off. And if I had a USB plugged in, then it would put a USB icon right there. Okay. Operation menu. Press any soft key to activate the corresponding menu. The following symbols might be displayed in the menu. Denote that the function knob can be used to modify the parameters. The backlight of the knob turns on in the parameter function, in the parameter modification status. Okay. And that's referring to all these. Okay. So those are considered the operation menu. And I'm going to stop there. We made it to page 40. So that completes Oscilloscope Part 2. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.